Good evening, and it's 5:30 p.m. Public section calling to order the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And I'm going to go into a non-public session on RSA 91-A:32C. Can I have a second?
Yeah, I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, roll call.
Sam Morrell, aye.
Andy Ross and I.
Claudine Burnham, aye.
Okay, we're gonna go into a non-public.
wanna make sure, is he gonna be sitting here or is he going another place? Oh, he's moved to the end of the pews. I think he's here.
You think you've lost weight. What is this boy that everyone loses weight on?
We'll just wait for Selectman Morrell and then we'll get going here. So good afternoon, folks. Thanks for joining us on the July 20th, 2020 Selectmen's meeting. And I'll make a motion to come out of non-public, RSA 91A:3, 2-C.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, roll call.
Ben Morrell, aye.
Andy Ross and I.
Claudine Burnham, aye.
Right, and we just talked about the process of tax deeding properties.
I'm sorry, can you talk a little bit louder?
Yeah, I know,
These
it's
masks,
tough, I know. It was just, we talked about the process of tax deeding properties, so. So up next is public comments. If anybody has any public comments, would they
Mary?
like to share?
You're using the microphone?
Sure, please.
The one plug is working. Larry Brown. I had time left over from the selectmen interview for the interim position. So I put together 2 pages for your review for the efficiency task force goals, which I will give to you. You may find it interesting to look over the comments on page 2, which goes, tax sales of distressed properties are neither a significant source of town income nor part of any operating budget. That money goes to the general fund. So those are your review
Thank you, Mr. Brown.
for the efficiency task force.
Thank you.
And voila. And if you could, Ernie, arrange for that to go out as an email individually to the task force members, that would be a help. I will have paper copies when the committee meets. I think it does a great deal of the work that the task force wants to do.
Okay. Is that it, Larry?
That's it, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, Lynette?
The only reason I'm here is to get some clarification. It seems like since this epidemic has gone on, a lot of things are being done behind doors, closed doors. And I guess what I'd like is the clarification of why. When we have a budget that was approved with certain members for our town to be open with, and those people are dismissed, and their positions are dismissed, yet under a default budget, we have people that receive raises. Somehow that seems like a conflict, and I guess I wanna know where you guys got that. Matt, are you listening to me?
I'm listening, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I guess they're two good questions. Out of transparency, the person that you're talking about that was laid off,
No, I'm not talking about a person
oh,
that's laid off.
you're not,
I'm talking about positions. This is not personal at all.
okay.
This is about positions. If you eliminate positions, it no longer becomes personal. Therefore, it should never be private.
What position are you referring to that was eliminated?
I'm referring to the positions you've gotten rid of.
What positions have we gotten rid of?
Well, you no longer have people that are in charge of, what? I'm sorry, you think you haven't gotten rid of positions?
Well, that's what I'm asking, what positions have we gotten rid of?
One was Danielle's position. and
That position was not eliminated, that
Let me
person was
finish
just laid
talking.
off.
You asked me and I'm going to tell you.
Okay, go ahead.
And the other one is you didn't get rid of that one, the person left, and that was the position for the, planning board. We never saw who was able to be, who had applied for that planning board position and their qualifications. We haven't seen anything. It's like everything's being done, and you guys wonder why people are reacting the way they are. We want you guys to be successful. I really wanna see you guys be I guess I'm upset right now. I really wanna see you guys succeed, but you're not going at it the right way.
Yeah, but
People are not happy.
Lynette, we haven't got rid of any positions. That position's already been.
So who's doing those positions? How come we have lines sitting out here because there's no one to take care of them?
Well, we do. I mean, we're fully staffed. We got as many people in the town clerk's office as we did a year ago. There's.
Oh, I was told that you had 2 people not returning.
Well, maybe that's what you were told, but that's not the truth. Okay, and
Then
I'm glad,
clarify it.
I'm glad you came here to
Yeah,
ask.
that's why I'm here.
Yeah.
Clarify it.
There's 3 part-timers in there, and there's Michelle Beauchamp, the tax collector.
Then why do we have lines all the way down? Are they only allowed to come in so many of them at a time?
Yeah,
No, not person. I'm talking about people to help them.
You only one person can come to that town clerk tax collector office at a time.
No. You're misunderstanding what I'm saying. You're not hearing what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Why is it we only have one person helping?
we don't.
You're
Michelle's.
telling me that
Well,
that
he
2 people are
misunderstood,
helping?
he misunderstood your question, Lynette. We have Michelle's full-time. She works
Right.
Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 3 o'clock. Those are her hours. That's what she schedules, that
Mhm.
she can schedule her own hours. Okay?
Yes, that's correct.
Right,
That's
and then we
correct.
have 3 part-timers that she can, choose how she wants to, use them as, as needed.
Mhm.
So she's in control of that office.
So it's not, then let me ask this, if she's in control of it, how come she isn't given the facility so that people can come in out of the heat and stuff like that?
We've
'Cause I've
asked,
been hearing for 2 weeks now.
right,
Oh,
we're
we're gonna do something about it.
we've asked people, Lynette, to use the building. They choose to stay outside, okay, because they want to be out in the fresh air. Ernie, am I correct
Oh my God.
that you have asked people to come in?
I have gone out several times, I'm not here all the time, but when I have gone out to offer to let people in, people, for the most part, haven't wanted to. Now, the other day, we got some photos of a line that went way down, now I wasn't here at that point. But what I have done is I've gone out and I've asked people, do you want chairs? And if do you want that? And I'll take chairs out if people want them. I have offered to let people come in here. People have taken me up on that.
Then
twice.
why all the complaints?
And we have a number system that Ernie is gonna get.
Did that just start?
We haven't implemented it yet. no.
Okay, so when is that going to start?
As soon as I get the tickets in place, and I've talked to Michelle about it. So, I mean, they're not here yet. They were supposed to be here today, but,
All I know is
So we are working on
our
the,
town is under, if somebody ends up hurt out here, has a stroke or something like that, it's gonna be on us, no one else. And this has been going on for too long.
right, well, we're, like I said, we're working on the numbers, even before somebody posted it on Facebook. We already had the, you know, the thing that comes up with a number, the number system, we're waiting on the tickets. So as soon as he gets the tickets, we'll, you know, that way there people can, you know, stay in their cars. I mean, I just went through Rochester, and I know, you know, this isn't about Rochester, but I wanted to see what was going on down there too.
I think that's a good idea.
And unfortunately, there's lines down in Rochester, people standing outside. And I know that's not our issue, that's their issue. And I've called Ernie up several times saying, Ernie, please go out and ask
Well,
if they
you
will.
told me that you guys were gonna be getting a tent out here, so people could wait in the tent.
Yeah, no, I mentioned to Ernie to get some pop-up tents. Then he said, well, we have the number system that is gonna be, you know, here as soon as we can get it, and he's ordered it. So, you know, we are working on these issues. It's just, you know, things unfortunately,
I've offered to let you use, I have pop-up stuff that people can use, you guys can use. I mean, I cannot see why we don't service the people in this town better. I really don't.
well, I mean, I'm on the same, you know, I'm right with you, Lynette. It's not that we're not trying, all right? You know, these are difficult
Well, I guess what I'm
times.
looking for are answers, not, we're trying. I want answers.
Well, I
want
apologize
estimated
that,
dates and stuff like this that you guys come through on. That's how we trust you.
well, I
You
appreciate
know,
that,
and
but,
right now, you guys are not showing that trust.
okay.
It's not, I want to make these things, it's we. We're all supposed to be in this together.
I appreciate it. Any more public comments? Okay, public, so no more public comments, I'll close public comments. So old business, we have the Jones Brooks update. So I did talk to, I had a little meeting with John Cadwick, on the Jones Brook. And, we met up at the parking lot, where the cars are parking, where it was, originally, up in the mills, going towards, Salmonville or Wakefield. And he's wanting to change the parking lot, to right after the bridge. Do you know what I'm talking about, Matt? It's town-owned property right there. And, so I was up there at that parking lot, and the site distance is very tough. So, you know, once Jones Brook is all done and cleaned up, you know, where people would originally park, it's gonna be tough. Just standing there, just looking out, you can't even see down the road, you know, 100 feet, 'cause of all the trees. So John, you know, mentioned, that, you know, we could use the town parking, well, it's not parking, but it's town-owned. It's part of the Jones Brook. So I was just wondering if you guys would be on board with that, before we do a driveway application permit, to move the parking down by the bridge. There's a lot that, you know, we could, you know, there's room for 8, 10, 12 cars in there, you know, parking them right.
Yep.
Do you have any
That's
feedback
our
on that,
next-
chief?
So you're gonna move the parking lot to where?
So go underneath the bridge, right there. There's already a driveway there. It's town-owned property.
Where the old bridge is shut down?
no, you go underneath the route, you go underneath the highway,
Yeah,
and you take your next right after the bridge.
up on the high side
Yeah.
of grass.
Yeah, exactly.
You're gonna park people there and then have them walk to Jonesbrook?
Well, that's part of Jones, that's all part of it. 'Cause on the other side, there's a lot of stuff that has to be removed, sumac and stuff, and so they were gonna start cleaning down at the other end. So, yeah,
I mean, as long as the trail markings are set up correctly so that people aren't walking down 125 and trying to walk across that narrow bridge,
right,
I don't see an issue of parking people there.
yeah,
It's just if they're not properly marked and people are gonna walk down 125 and walk through that narrow portion of the bridge,
yeah. No, that wasn't the intent, and that I will bring up with John. You know, no, 'cause I certainly wouldn't want that, you know, that would be dangerous. Not that people don't walk on that road, but, so, I just wanted to, you know, to bring this to the board, before, you know, we do this application for the driveway permit. I don't wanna waste my time if he wasn't interested in doing that.
No, I'm on board.
Okay. So, I'll talk to Ernie about it after, cause there's a signature on here, that we gotta get. And the other thing is John's just gonna, he's gonna, you know, as soon as he gets an infinitive date on when they're gonna start cleaning the, Jones Brook, he will, we'll put it out on an email. So if there's any volunteers that wanna volunteer, that would be a huge help. So we'll get the date when he gets it, so.
Do you have a phone number for him to contact?
Yeah, it'll be on the our website, to be able to call them. So, I just wanna make sure before I give his phone number out, you know, his personal cell. But I'm sure it's all right, but, so that's what's going on with the Jones Brook, update. It's, you know, good stuff. I mean, it's gonna be beautiful once it's all cleaned up again. And, you know, you got the nice Salmon Falls River there, and, once it's all cleaned up and there's nice walking paths, it's gonna be a real asset to the town. So, that's Jones Brook. So update on regarding the COVID-19, novel coronavirus operations, activities and plans. Do you have anything?
Yeah, there's not much else to talk about, other than piggybacking on, what Lynette was asking about, that number system, the dispenser was supposed to be in today, it isn't. You know, once we get that up, I can start bringing people around. You know, we can probably fit 1, 2, 3, 5, well, depending on who's coming in here, you know, for service in this part of the building, probably 3 that can wait in the hallway here, and then the number of seats we have in here, 1, 2, 3, 4, you know, up to probably 12, 13 people, so that should help. You know, I think people will feel better about losing their place in line if they have the number in here.
Right.
That's really, I think, been the issue when I've been around and gone out. Again, I wasn't in the other day when the line was there, or I would have been doing something with that, but, most of the time, I go out and ask people, and, sometimes they'll take a chair. That's about the extent of it, though. They don't really want, go in. So, I even went out today when it was hot, and I had the same result when I asked people.
Okay. All right, thank you, Ernie. Okay. The 2021 budget development, we have the police chief here to talk about that.
So some of the questions have been answered because you guys had a workshop. guess one of the things that I kind of have an issue with is I don't think you have put a fast enough clock on budgets being created at this point this year. They need to be done earlier than the schedules that are being put out for them to be done. We need to have these completed and done and ready to be handed to the Board of Selectmen and the Budget Committee by August 31st, not having meetings being taken place 2 weeks before August 31st for departments to be finalizing their budgets at that point. If we truly want to be able to give these to the residents in a timely manner so they can actually review the budgets and know what they're looking at, we have to be giving this to them by November 1st. That's giving them the opportunity to at least see what the Budget Committee and the Board of Selectmen are preparing to finalize, because obviously you won't have some numbers until the end of November. But almost all of the other numbers you will have. So the biggest numbers that most of us in our budgets have to worry about is payroll, obviously, and where the board wants us to move those payrolls. We have those questions answered to a point for those of us who have step plans to put the employee to the next step in the step plan, and for those of us, those employees who are not in the step plan, we've been told what to do with them as well. So the other problem that I guess I have is, and it's been an issue for me since I've been chief, but it's always been the way the town has done it, is I don't think the department heads should be setting their own new rate for the next year. I think that should be coming from the board. And so that's one of the questions I'm here to ask you guys tonight. How do you want me to do that for my rate when I'm creating my budget? My budget is 99% done. I'm waiting on 2 numbers, and those 2 numbers are just, I pretty much already know what those 2 number increases are going to be, but even when those numbers come in, I've already written what I believe the increases are going to be. So the number that I'm waiting on from the board is for mine. And do you want me to just put me at the next step, which is, as you know, with my step plan, the department step plan, it's a 2% increase for each step.
Well, and they're all good questions again, Chief, and, you know, with the tax cap that, you know, that was voted in by the taxpayers, you know, there's nothing that all 3 of us, of course, we wanna work together as a team here and do what's best for the town, okay? There's no question. That's why we took this position. And it's a lot of work. And, you know, with the tax cap, we're really, it's gonna be tough this year. I can't sit here and honestly tell you, you know, at this moment, you know, do I want to give you guys? They all deserve everything, of course. You know, these raises. We got to figure out, you know, what we can do. You know, with the COLA raise, that's what you're right. That's what you're talking about.
No, it's just a step. The step plan that you've seen since 2014.
Okay, your step plan for well, that's been already voted in by the by the voters.
But that's only been voted in by the voters for the first year. The new officers. The officers are within a 5-year range. Everybody outside of that 5-year range falls under what the board tells us to do. So normally, what I do is I put them at the next step. So my officers, I'm not worried about, because I've already put my budget together to deal with my officers. For me, as a department head, I don't think it's right that I'm picking that number for myself. And obviously, I've never come into you and say, you know what? We've had 3 default budgets. Guess what? I'm coming in and I'm getting myself back to where I'm supposed to be at step whatever. I've never come in and do that. That's not what I'm doing tonight. What I'm doing tonight is coming and saying to you that I think it would be better for the residents if they knew that it wasn't us department heads setting our own number, that it was the Board of Selectmen setting the number. And obviously, you guys set the number at the end of the process anyways, because the budget that's voted on and that we ultimately present to the Budget Committee is your budget, not the department head's budget. So it has your changes to it, has whatever the board makes to it before it's presented to the Budget Committee. I'm trying to save us steps, so we don't have to make those changes And we don't have to have 15 meetings before we have that singular meeting between the Board of Selectmen and the Budget Committee where we'll present our budgets. If we know right up front what your expectation is and how to set your budgets, that's what we're going to do. And that's what we've tried to do, and that's what I've tried to do as the chief of police, is my budget last year was up 1.1%.
Mm-hmm.
And it was trying to correct 2 lines and trying to make sure my officers got the steps they were supposed to get for this year. And obviously the budget got voted down. This year's budget is less than 1% increase as well.
Mhm.
And I took those 2 corrections of lines out, and it's still less than 1%. So I'm just trying to say that what we've been doing in the past obviously is not working.
No?
And the fact that last year's budget wasn't completed by the Budget Committee until after Christmas, we can't expect residents to be able to decipher a budget that wasn't even really done until the end of January. So it was finished with us doing meetings in December, but it wasn't actually finished until January. We can't do that, and that's because we wait too long in the year to do these presentations. We wait too long in the year to present and create these budgets. We're all busy, don't get me wrong. Right now, I'm working with 5 guys.
Mm-hmm.
So we're all busy. We don't have the time to do it. We're all stuck here. I'm here tonight covering a day shift and here tonight on my vacation. It's what we get to do. It's a small town. It's what I've done for almost 20 years now. It's what we'll continue to do. But what we need to do is, this shouldn't be that hard to have processed and ready to you by the first week of August.
Okay, I will sit down and talk with Ernie. You know, unfortunately, with the short help, I mean, with some of, we gotta see where the department heads are with their budgets. I know unfortunately that they're short of help in here, so, town hall, I mean, if you're ready, I mean, I'll sit down with Ernie and we'll figure out, if we can start hearing budgets sooner. I don't know.
Mr. Chairman, I'm not looking for the board to hear the budget. I'm looking for you guys to hear the budget at the joint meeting.
Right.
What I'm looking for the board to just do basically tonight is, do you want me to have this conversation with Ernie as to whether or not I move to my next step? Or is the board gonna put me there? So just so I can finalize that line in my budget.
Right.
That's all I'm trying to do.
I
Or
mean-
am I staying at where I'm at currently and I just put it through to where it's supposed to be? And if that's the conversation you want to have, so be it, I'm fine with that. But I think as a board, you need to be the ones setting the number for us department.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, and, it's a great question. I mean, I don't see, for me, you should move on to your next step. I mean, it would be nice to be able to talk about it. You know, I didn't realize this is what what we were gonna be talking about tonight. But for me, yes, you move on. You know, how do you guys feel about it?
Well, I agree that you need to move to the next step. I don't know what step that would be, and I don't know how that would, reflect on your budget. Okay. Okay.
I mean, how long have you been at this step? Well, for the last 3 defaults?
Since the default, yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, we gotta figure out, you know, we gotta work together. There's no question about it. We have to work together. We have to figure out, you know, the default budget. I mean, cause if we don't get below the default budget, you know, it's just, the town's never gonna be able to move forward. I mean, we gotta sit down as a team and figure it out, all of us, together.
And I'm not saying we don't have to do that. And I'm not coming to the board and asking for any new people. I'm not coming to the board and asking for increases in people. I'm just coming to the board asking for the bare minimums of what I need to do to get by next year.
Right.
And unfortunately, it may be completely out of my hands as to what I come to this board for and ask. That'll depend on the governor's council in the next, 45 days is almost over. So we'll see where that leads us. And I
Mhm.
can already tell you there's gonna be an increase in cost in hiring each one of the employees that we have to hire for the police department. Because we have to change, with the new law that the governor signed last week, we now have to change some of the ways we do psychological exams. So that's gonna be an increased cost. So those are things that are gonna be out of our control,
Mhm.
but are still going to fall back on the residents, and they don't fall back on the state. It looks like there's some way to get reimbursement for those additional costs, but we don't know how much money's gonna actually be in that fund for reimbursement. We don't know how much money is going to be available for reimbursement. So those are things that if we as the town of Milton have to hire 2 officers every year for the next 4 years, how much of an increase is that gonna cost us in those exams?
Mhm.
Whereas you have the larger agencies who hire a lot more people over those times and have to do the same exact exams. Are they going to take a lot more money out of those funds that we're not gonna be able to see because we're a smaller agency and may not be able to get some of those funds?
Mhm.
So those are things that we're going to have to build into the budget. Whether or not it's something we wanna build into the budget or not, I mean, some of the cost is already built into the budget.
Right.
But right now, you know this, and Matt, I think you know this from last year, that right now in our training line, or our testing line, it's $500. Currently, that gets us 2 officers with the way we currently do it.
Mhm.
But I don't even think that $500 is gonna cover 1 officer for the new testing platform. So that's a line that's going to increase, or it's just gonna get overspent every single year. So I understand the tax cap, I understand the want to keep it at as close to the default number as humanly possible. But with that being said, there are things that we may not be able to stay at that default number for. And the tax cap doesn't mandate that you're at a default number. The tax cap actually mandates that you can't go above 2% of your of your current budget in the next year. So,
Well, unfortunately, it's not even that, but that's fine.
or 1.7%, whatever it is.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
it's still a number that a tax cap allows an increase. I live in a community that has had a tax cap for 10 years.
Mhm.
And I can tell you right now that the tax cap has never decreased the budget in the community I live in. So I fully understand what a tax cap is. I fully understand how to operate under a tax cap. But I also think that you can't use it as almost as a scare word. And that's not what I'm saying you're doing.
No.
But we can't use it as a scare word. We have to work under it. And there has to be some type of information that comes out of this office in here that explains to the department heads, okay, this is a tax cap. This is how the tax cap's gonna work. If you have to get that from the town attorney, get it from the town attorney. So it comes to each department head and they know exactly
Well, and
the
that's why-
guidelines they have to abide by.
Right, and that's where I was going, why, I'd like to sit down with all the department heads and the selectmen to talk about this, to how to move forward with the new tax cap, with budgeting our budgets.
But here we are, coming up 2 weeks from August. We've known that we've had the tax cap since March. We can all say that the pandemic has caused problems for us. We can all say that the pandemic has slowed things down. We cannot use it as a crutch as to why we haven't finished these projects before now. We can't.
Well, Chief, you might be right, but unfortunately, we're very short-staffed here in the town office right now, and people are doing multiple jobs. I know you probably don't wanna hear it, but it's the truth, and we're doing the best we can, and we want to, as a team, all right, work together on the budget and figure out, what is gonna be best for the taxpayers, moving forward. So I've already talked to Ernie, about setting a meeting up, with the department heads and us selectmen to figure this issue out, and hopefully we can do it within the next week, to have a meeting. I mean, we're learning from our lawyer, new stuff every day about the tax cap. So, we're doing our due diligence here, and we wanna work with you and as a team and figure it out, So, do I think you should go to your next step? Of course I do. You know, and maybe we can hear the budgets a lot sooner. If people are ready, then we'll talk with Ernie and move forward with the budgets.
Again, I don't think we need to present them to you as the Board of Selectmen.
Right.
I think the singular presentation is going to be the best opportunity for both boards to ask questions, but I think we need to be handing them to you so you can actually review them, and handing them to the Budget Committee so they can review them in advance as well, not a couple of days or 4 days in advance.
No, I agree with you. Totally agree. That's the way it was last year. Didn't work. I don't know where the disconnect was, but it didn't work. And hopefully this year we can figure it out and make it a lot more, line stream it and make it a lot more easier for everyone. I want to work with you, Chief. Don't get. I'm not saying I
wanna
don't.
work with us. I'm just saying that all I'm hearing all the time is we're short-staffed, we're short-staffed, we're short-staffed. So since I started in this town and since I became chief, we've been at full staff for maybe 6 months if we were lucky.
Mm-hmm.
So we may be on full staff on paper, but normally we have 2 people in the academy when we're full staff on paper. Rarely are we at full staff.
Mm-hmm.
But when was the last time you heard me come in here and say, I didn't have enough manpower to get this accomplished?
Never.
So
No.
we can't say we're short-staffed, and that's why we're getting dogged down.
Yeah.
Because that's not an appropriate answer to our residents. Show them why these items take as long as they take. And then we can explain that away, and they'll see it, why each item takes as long as it takes.
Mm-hmm.
Not to say we're short-staffed, because that answer doesn't fly, because you
Right.
still have a job to do. Because I'm short-staffed at the police department, I don't get to say as the chief of police, I'm taking 4 weeks off for the whole month of August and walk away and not think about it. That's not appropriate to the town, it's not appropriate to my guys, and but we still have a task to do. So because I still have that task to do, I still have to mandate that we have that stuff covered. And if that means I come in and cover it, then that's what happens. And when I take stuff home, most of the stuff I do, for budget-wise and admin-wise, usually comes home on the laptop with me. So I get it, most people don't wanna work at home. But if that's the only way you can accomplish your task and make sure that we're moving forward and not moving backwards, and we're not giving the argument that we're short-staffed.
Yeah.
I get it, they have a couple of people that are in here working during the day. They have a lot of tasks to do, and they're wearing a lot of hats. But some of those hats can be given back to the department heads, and can be put in the department head's lap, that can come out of here and go back to those department heads. That'll
Right.
take some of the workload off of some of the employees in this building.
Mhm.
Some of the other tasks we can't, because that's that department's task.
Yeah.
So
No,
we can't keep making excuses as to why it didn't get accomplished.
I totally
We just
agree.
have to get it accomplished.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I know Ernie worked from home this weekend on the default budget. It's not like we're not, and if, Ernie, if you wanna chime in, feel free. We are working on it, and we wanna, get this done, and I don't want it to be like last year. I've already said that. So, I mean, do you have anything to add, Ernie, or?
Oh, just that, all of the things that we're talking about in terms of the tax cap and all of that, we're finding some things, like the number 1.7 just came up. And, when you look at the tax cap warrant article, and you take a look at what they talk about, there being, the lesser of 2% or the Consumer Price Index Northeast Region from January to January. Well, obviously, January of this year, it'd be too late to do anything with that, because that's what it says in the warrant article. And, so if you took January of 2020 19 to January 2020, I'm not sure that's what the intent of the petitioners was to have use something that was a whole year old when they're putting the budget together, 6 or 8 months old. But if you wait until January 2020, you're already into, budget hearings and everything else, because the January number won't come out until towards the end of January or beginning of February. So, right now, June to June's CPI is 0.8. So I'm trying to figure out what to do. The conclusion, as far as that's concerned, the default budget and all that, I just think you have to use what you've got on paper right now. And the tax cap itself, it's not really the budget, it's the amount of local taxes you actually raise. That's what can't change with that percentage. As far the information on the wages and so forth, yeah, that's gonna be the issue, because we've got that those raises that were given between the 2018 time period, the July 2018, and even the end of the year last year, were all things that were not covered in the default budget unless they were given under one of the wage plans that were adopted earlier in the year. And that was about a $90,000 deficit, if I remember correctly. All of that stuff is just information that kind of goes into the pot. And as far as the wages for people, the department heads, I agree with the chief 100%. That's something that the selectmen need to do, and I think that needs to happen in a meeting with each one of the department heads, and talking with them about that, and doing the evaluations and so forth that need to be. I can't argue with the fact that being short-staffed does make it harder, because you have to prioritize things, and feels like you have to prioritize everything at the same level around here sometimes. But I don't really have anything else to say about that, but I think in getting department heads the amount that they should be using for the raises, that will help. And trying to get things earlier to the budget committee and the selectmen, that's your call, what you want to do, with your budget. If you want to just do the joint meeting thing again, which is sort of what we set it up as.
Mhm.
I mean, the calendar thing that I put together, those meetings with the select board, if you don't want to meet with department heads, you just want them to put the budgets together and do the joint presentation, that's fine. We did try to do that last year, and for several different reasons it didn't work out, because people weren't getting the information. But that's your call. If you want to skip the selectmen's meetings with the departments and the budget presentations, we can do that, and we could probably get budgets together. I'm still not too sure we can get it done, by the first week of August with everything at this point. But like we said at the last meeting, there are certain departments that have theirs done, and we can do that. The thing with all of this is we're gonna be looking at these budgets, and then we're gonna be looking at the tax cap information, later in the year, November, December, whatever it's gonna be, and making some calls on things. So, I will try to push it up as much as I possibly can with people. You can just tell people, get your budgets in by, in the next 2 weeks, and they'll have to do that.
What do you guys think?
Well, is it too difficult to just do individual with the department heads? Like we can meet with the chief and go over his budget and make that decision with his.
Well, that's the way we used to do it.
Okay.
I say used to. Last year was the first year that we tried to do it jointly with the budget committee. So we just heard the budget once.
Right.
So we're not, because if you go that route that you were just asking, you could have quite a few meetings.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of why we went with hearing it all together. We all got in here on a Saturday, and we just heard everybody's budgets.
Mm-hmm.
But from there, I don't know what happened. I don't know where the disconnect was. But anyways, that's what we did. We heard everybody's budgets once, and then, you know, we came back, and we looked at them, you know, with the selectmen and, you know, figured out if there was gonna be any cuts or anything, and then, and, I mean, I like that process. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I think it's, you know, a good process. I don't have a problem doing it. We just gotta, so what, you were saying, what, August 31st, Chief? Is that what you said, or it's August 1st?
Well, I think budget should be in the first week of August,
First-
to Ernie at minimum.
I mean, it's, what, now, already July, so that gives them not even a week and a half.
So that gives Ernie the opportunity to then go through them and see, as the town administrator, what he thinks needs to come down a little bit in numbers, and where he thinks he can make some changes, or
Mhm.
with the department heads that need changes.
Right.
Ernie meets with the individual department heads, but those meetings can't be happening the week before August 31st. Because in my opinion, we should be giving, if we're gonna meet on September 12th, the second Saturday of September, then we should be doing something different. We should be giving you, the Board of Selectmen, and the Budget Committee at the exact same time, our packets. So you have 2 weeks to look through them. You have 2 weeks to give Ernie the questions, and he can send them down to the department heads. We can get your questions answered. That way, when we come and do our full presentation, the number of questions will be minimal. And whatever questions there are, we can actually have hard discussions at that joint meeting.
Right.
Instead of coming in, we do our presentation and you ask individual questions for individual department heads, and then by the end of the day, it's 8 hours long, and nobody wants to have those hard conversations. Nobody wants to actually have that conversation on where can we cut, where can we move money, where can we do this, where can we do that.
Yeah, I mean, I'll talk to Ernie. I mean, probably, I would say probably the second week of August. The first week probably is gonna be, I mean, we'll see, let's just see where people are. I mean, just see where department heads are, and we'll go from there. You know, I don't know if it'll be the first, but, you know, I don't see why it couldn't be the middle of August, or, you know, or even if it could be a little sooner, that, you know, that's fine too. But yeah, let's just, you know, put a query out there to see where people are with the budgets. I mean, people might be already done with the budgets. I don't, you know, let's just ask. And we'll go from there. What do you think, Matt?
See where everybody's at.
Okay. So we'll Ernie will look into seeing where everybody's at, and we'll see if we can come up with a date that works for everybody. If I can't sit here and say it's gonna be August 1st, but let's just see, okay? And then we'll see if we can move forward and get it done. I just know that we need to work together, so.
And I'm not saying we don't have to work
No-
together.
no, I know.
The only way this is gonna pass is if all of us sit down at the table and make the hard decisions
Yep.
and then work together, but it's not gonna, we can all work together all we want. But if we do not have this ready to give the information out to the residents so that they can digest that information, we can't expect them to digest it the second week or third week of January and then go into deliberative session February 3rd or February 10th, whatever it's going to be this year.
Mhm.
And expect that they've digested the information that's written in those packets, or from watching the budget committee or watching this board have communications about numbers. And anybody who's ever watched those videos when we're talking about numbers, you can't follow it.
I know, I agree. Totally agree.
So we have to have something for them to be able to hold in their hand, look at, or bring up on the computer if they wanna bring it up on the town's website. But the only way we can get that done, especially with the staff Ernie has in the building, is it's done early. It can't be done in January.
Yeah. No, I like your enthusiasm, and I appreciate it, and let's see, like I said, I'll talk to Ernie and see where where the managers are at, and we'll just see if we can move forward, you know, the earliest we can in August. I don't know where we're, you know, I don't have a
That's
definitive
fine.
date, but, yeah.
I'm just trying, I guess the biggest thing that I'm trying to get this board to understand is that we can't wait, and we have to have deadlines. The planning board, Matt, you were at the meeting, the planning board set hard deadline this year, which they needed to do.
Well, we
because-
set a hard deadline, but then it kept getting pushed back anyways, so.
Yep.
So, I think we actually set 2 or 3.
That's unfortunate.
So did the budget committee.
Yeah.
We have to have hard deadlines to
Yep.
actually get these things accomplished.
Mm-hmm.
Because last year, the planning board saw this last year too. That we have a hard deadline with the CIP for a reason. It's written right into the CIP for a
Yeah,
reason.
yeah.
So that we don't run into the process we ran into last year.
Mm.
Same thing needs to happen with the budgets. They need to have a hard deadline so that we can actually get these done and get them in and get the process going for the residents. It's not for you or me
Yeah.
that the budget, that we do these budget presentations or we do this budget process. It's not for the department heads. We know our budgets inside and out. We can present it to you, and that's great. You guys see what we spend all year long. You see how many officers are out and available. You see which officers are out and available. You see that in town hall, you see that in all the other departments. It's for the average resident who doesn't come to town hall other than to register their car or to register their dog. And it's for the resident that doesn't ever have contact with any of our departments. So they don't know what our budgets look like. They don't know how the process works.
Mhm.
And for a lot of people, numbers are really confusing, and numbers, unfortunately, when you're looking at just an Excel spreadsheet that breaks down multiple years, or breaks down changes, or breaks down percentages, a lot of people aren't going to be, the average person isn't going to sit down and look at that and want to decipher that.
Right.
But we need to make it so that way it's easy for them to understand, it's easy for us to explain, and all the information is right there. But we can't do that if our deadline keeps getting pushed closer to December. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yep.
I'm not asking for you to set a number or a date today, but in my opinion, it should have been set earlier. So,
All right, well,
All
I
right.
appreciate you coming and talking to us, and we will, I'll be talking to Ernie, and hopefully we can come up with some dates here,
okay.
and, we'll get it moving. All right, thank you. Up next, Town Administrator Ernest Krevlin, scheduling and premier default,
Yeah, we just did all that.
yeah. Ordinance updates, currently under final review. Have you guys read the,
Yeah, so the ordinances, did you get the review from the town attorney? Yeah. So, that's something that, we need to finalize and then come back to you one last time and then schedule a public hearing if you're, you know, in agreement with everything that happened.
Mhm.
But there was quite a review and, a number of, suggested changes with those, and, I'm gonna just jump to the status of the tax deed structures, no change from the previous meeting, on those, and it's, but the 565 is coming up quickly, you know, in August, is being able to be, sold, or auctioned off. Moving to the Gopher grant reimbursement application, I had talked to the state because they had changed the way you can do that, so I'm holding off until the August 15th deadline to now do the Gopher reimbursement request from the beginning of, March, April, May, through the end of July
mhm,
with that one. So that's your.
okay. So under, oh, okay, that's what I was just gonna say.
Thank you.
So warrants for, unlicensed dogs. So, subject, warrants for unlicensed dogs, pursuant to the, New Hampshire RSA, 466, 14, entitles warrant proceedings. You are hereby directed to proceed forthwith either to collect the fees due to the town of Milton to be turned over to the, town clerk, or seized or unlicensed dogs for holding in an appropriate holding facility, pursuant of the New Hampshire RSA 466:16, entitled to return. You have until August 31st, 2020 to return this warrant, with a statement as to whether an unlicensed dog in the town of Milton, New Hampshire has been seized and held under the provision of this chapter, and whether complaints have been entered against all persons who have failed to comply with the provision. So, so you're looking for this just to be signed, Ernie? This warrant for, is that what is that what you need?
No, it's out of order. Do you mind if you
No,
say
I
that?
don't.
Okay, so,
Yep, all right, thank you, I'll just. I just sign that, Claudine, please.
Thank you.
All right, so next is to authorize the Vice Chair, Matt Morrell, to provide counter-signatures to the treasurer's signature on accounts payable and payroll checks where applicable, in the absences of myself, Chairman Rawson. So really what we're just looking for is someone else to be able to sign checks if I'm not around in town or something, so, is that fine with you, Matt?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So, I'll make a motion, and is that fine with you, Claudine?
Yes.
Okay. So I'll make a motion to authorize, the Vice Chair, Matt Morrow, to provide a counter signature to the treasurer's signature. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. So we'll do a roll call vote. Roll call vote.
Matt Morrell, aye.
Andy Ross and I.
Claudine Burnham, aye.
Okay. So up next is the board and committees, commissions, appoint and considerations for cemetery commission. So it was just one person for the cemetery, Ernie, as I
Yes.
see? Okay. So Catherine Ayers
Yes.
is interested in being on the cemetery commission, and I wanna thank her for stepping up to the plate, and,
Cemetery trustees.
yep, well, it says commission here, but trustees is fine too.
It's actually wrong if it says it.
So, I'll make a motion to appoint Catherine Ayers to be a cemetery trustee.
I second. Oh. I second.
Okay, roll call vote,
Matt Morrell, aye.
Andy Ross and I.
Claudine Burnham, aye.
Okay. So next, we have the Heritage Commission. And that is a new commission that was passed on this warrant article last year. And, we have, it's a four-person seat, with two 3 years and two 2 years. And the selectmen's rep will be every year, like it has been, well, on prior boards. So we have, John Cadwick, Ryan Tebow, Eric Solomon, Amy Weiss, and Catherine Ayers again. So, do you guys have any recommendations on this, on these appointments? I know John Cadwick and Ryan Tebow actually spearheaded this Heritage Commission, and they're the ones that brought it to the, for a warrant article. And I know Eric Sullivan, he wrote a letter of intent, right after the election, and is he a school teacher, you said, Ernie, in town,
Dover, I think.
in Dover? So,
Sorry.
and then you have Amy Weiss and Catherine Ayers.
Well, since it's only a four-person seat, or a four-person board, and then the selectmen's rep makes 5, I say we just take the first out of, obviously, John Catwick and Ryan Tebow spearheaded this, so I would say recommend those 2, and then out of the other 3, in order of the letters that came in, unfortunately. So,
Okay.
Ernie, do you wanna go over the order and when the letters came in?
Sure, I mean, I've got a,
Or is it in the order that they're here, Ernie?
well, it's in the order that they're here on this list.
Okay.
Oh, is it?
As you said, Mr. Simonson actually, wrote an email to us, I think, the week after town meeting. And, they followed it up, because things sort of got, delayed with everything with COVID-19. And, I notified him last week, asked him if he's still interested, and he sent in a more detailed letter that you got. The other 2 were, like I said, they're all in date order, with the 2 founding members at the top.
Okay. All right, well, do I have a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to appoint John Catwick, Ryan Tebow, Eric Samonson, sorry if I butchered your name, and Amy Weiss to the Heritage Commission. Or do we wanna do it one at a time?
So you'd have to, you have, the staggered terms and the information on it, just like with any board, you wanna do the, since you only have 4 members that are not the select board, and the select board, one would turn over every year.
Yeah.
You wanna choose 2 that would be a 3-year and 2 that would be a 2-year.
Can't make it easy.
First 2 years, second 2 3 years.
There you go. I like Mr. Brown's.
What, so what is your motion, Matt?
My motion is to appoint John Catwick and Ryan Tebow for 2 years, and Eric Samonson and Amy Weiss for 3 years.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
A roll call vote?
Matt Morley, yes.
An- Andy Rawson, yes.
Claudine Burnham, yes.
Okay, and I do wanna thank Catherine, Ayers for, showing an interest. It's tough. I'm sorry.
Would you like me to ask her if she'd like to be an alternate? Yes.
Most definitely, yeah, we did talk about that. And I wanna thank her for her interest. It's tough to get people to join boards and committees, so, I do wanna thank her, and hopefully she'd like to be an alternate. Okay, so up next is the approval of the minutes. So the first date, is gonna be, June 24th. Did you read these? Are you all set, Matt?
Yep, I'm all set.
Okay. I'm just looking here real quick, at something. Okay, I'll make a motion to accept, June 24th, 2020 meeting minutes.
I will second that.
Roll call vote.
Matt Morrell, aye.
Andy Ross and I. And,
Do I
Colleen,
even-
you'll
Are you
subs- yeah, she'll
Yeah.
abstain.
The only 7 minutes that have you or the,
Last
the 7th or 13th.
Right.
Um, So up next is the meeting minutes for July 6th. Are you all set with them, Matt?
Yep.
Okay, I'll make a motion to accept the meeting minutes of July 6th as written,
I will second that motion.
and a roll call vote.
Matt Morrell, aye.
Andy Ross and I. So up next is the public, workshop that we had.
I think you skipped one.
Yeah, there's one July 8th.
July 8th.
Yep.
July 8th, 6. Yeah, right here. Okay, I'm just looking at this real quick. On the July 8th meeting, the minutes for the July 8th, Ernie, since these weren't sealed, right?
No.
Could you just put could you put my motion that I made in these minutes for transparency?
We're,
It's the minutes for the vacant seat.
right, and that's on the non-public one, yeah,
Since they weren't sealed.
right.
So I'll make a motion to accept them with the corrections.
Wait a minute, what corrections do you want?
I just want, for transparency, I just want the the motions that were made in that meeting and why I made the motion. I don't know if Matt does or not, but I would just rather see it there.
Okay, you mean in the public, okay.
Yeah. Okay? And so I'll make a motion to accept these with the corrections.
I'll second that.
Okay, roll call.
Matt Morrow, aye.
Andy Ross and I, and Claudine will abstain. So, and the last minutes is July 13th. This is kind of a short meeting. Are we all set with these?
Yeah, I'm good.
On Claudine?
Yes.
So I'll make a motion to accept the July 13th, 2020 meeting. Matt,
I will second.
roll call vote.
Matt Morrow, aye.
Andy Ross and I.
Claudine Burnham, aye.
Okay.
Is it?
Thank you, sir. Jeez, it's like remortgaging my house. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, there you go, Matt. Just one last one to sign. Those are all signed. Just put them together. So up next is the expenditure report as of June 17th, 2020. Any questions or any comments about it, or? Anything pop out to you? You all set, Matt? Or, oh, you're looking, I'm sorry. do you have anything about the budget, Ernie, or are you all?
I have to follow up still on those couple of questions Matt had, last time, but I'll send out emails before
Okay.
I go tonight.
Are you all set?
Well, I have
Or-
a question. What are the encumbrances?
Yeah, those are the, well, the encumbrances are, what they encumbered last year, for, at the end of the year expenses, so those were, you know, things that were gonna be, things that were coming up that they had to encumber the money. You know, maybe like oil or, you know, bills that were coming in after the budget closed, you know, they encumbered that money,
Okay.
so. Do you have anything, Matt? No? All set?
I just had a question. Like the beach, how does that, is that not part of this, the beach or what's going on at, you know, for revenue there or expenses?
Yeah, the beach is in here,
It's not,
I
is it
mean,
under
it-
recreation?
let's see where it is,
The beach is,
I know the beach is run by, I mean, you know, it's run, of course, off the expenses that, I mean, off the revenue that comes in into the beach, that's how the beach is run. But there is,
All of it?
no, not all of it, but there is a small, she does have a small, she does have a small one here. I just gotta find it. Highway. Solid waste, outside appropriate welfare, recreation. It's right here. It's on page 21.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, 21.
right, the beach though is operated out of the beach fund itself,
Yeah,
so it's not reflected in this budget. This is the operating budget for the town-related stuff, salaries and operating for the office and so forth, but the beach, direct beach-related expenses are taken care of out of the beach fund that they have, which is funded through the, what they charge to get into the beach.
and,
And
and
that's a separate report that can be printed out for you.
yeah.
Is that only, what's, 'cause I think there was one here from what's paid here through the office, right? For the
Right,
town
yeah.
office, it was with Michelle, there was a summary.
right, anything, like anything in her recreation budget itself would come out of this. But
Right.
we can get you, you know, I mean, the
I didn't see
commission,
it in this one.
they're probably right out on the board,
Yeah,
maybe, you know, from the rec commission's meetings. I
so
don't
it
know.
self-funds itself?
Oh, yes.
Including the employers,
Yes,
or the
Most-
employees, I should say?
most definitely,
Okay.
yes, yep. Yeah, it's kind of a, yeah. It's just like, you know, wanting to use a transfer station. If you wanna use a transfer station, then you pay to use it.
Right.
It's kinda the same way with the beach. If you wanna go down and swim, then, you know, there's.
Well, I just thought that would be something to show that,
And there is,
okay.
yeah. So up next, are you all set, Claudine?
Yes,
Okay, so up next is the town administrator's comments.
I'll actually give that to you, Louise. I can get you that and make that a part of what you get every meeting if you want.
okay, that's fine, thank you.
So it says, Dear Mr. Krevlin and Selectmen, this is from the school administration. On behalf of the entire school district, we are extremely grateful and appreciative of the efforts of all town agencies in providing a creative, rewarding graduation ceremony to the class of 2020 and the subsequently parade during these unprecedented times. The dedication of the recreation, police, fire, as well as the endorsement of all town officials was heartwarming. Through the challenging times, we have shown that Milton is united, strong, and committed to our school and community. Indeed, the old axiom is taken, a whole village is to educate a child, has been most evident. It surely takes special people to make others feel special. You are clearly those special people. Despite the tragic backdrop of curtains, health crisis, and silver linings, it is that our collaboration, bonds of steel, and passion to serve the school community will always be remembered, as will the lifetime memories for the students and families of class of 2020.
That's
So,
nice.
yeah.
Very nice.
So I'd like to congratulate all the students, and I'm glad it all worked out for everybody, and that we could all work together and make it happen. I mean, really, they did. I mean, we just okayed to use the beach, which is wonderful. So I'm happy for them all. So, okay. Do you have any other comments? Okay. So up next is the board comments. Do you have anything, Claudine?
I do not, thank
You
you.
Okay, Matt?
Nope, I'm good.
You know, the only other thing I have, is that I just don't want it to slip through the cracks, is the schoolhouse roof. It's not fixed itself. It's not, probably has gotten worse, and we need to look forward. I mean, we need to, figure out what we're gonna do, where we're gonna find the money, and we need to fix it. It is a town-owned building. It's the little schoolhouse, up by the blue house that we sold on White Mountain Highway. Do you know where the little schoolhouse I'm talking about?
No, I don't.
Okay, right
I'm trying to
past,
think.
you just go up on the knoll, and it sits right there on the right-hand side.
Just before Boulder.
Just,
Road.
yeah, or is
Oh.
it before Bowen or after? Before, okay, before. So we've had this discussion, but
Oh,
I just
okay.
don't want it to, we need to keep it on our radar, because, you know, it's gonna be coming to be August 1st here before you know it, and that roof has to be replaced before bad weather comes, or we will probably lose that schoolhouse, and we do not want that. So I'm just bringing it back up, and we gotta figure it out.
I'll put it back under old business, so it's on
Mhm.
that list.
Yeah, okay. so that's, and, you know, in closing, it is coming budget season, and we talked about it tonight, and, we need to figure it out, and we need, like I said already once, and I know Chief, you know, he's on board, we just need to come together, as a team and work together and figure it all out. You know, that's our jobs, that's why we ran for this post, and, you know, so we gotta do it. And, so Ernie will come up with some dates and we'll move forward.
Mr. Chairman, it's easier to watch the work of the chair than to do it. In times past, there has been public comment on items specific to the meeting. Is that available?
I personally never had a problem with it. I mean, we are here doing town business. This is our meeting. For me, I don't have a problem with it because I like the input maybe somebody has. I don't know, you know, what do you guys think about it?
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Yes, I'm fine, yep,
Okay.
absolutely.
So yeah, no, that's fine. We used to do it. It's just it kind of went away with different chairs. So, but I'm fine with it. You know.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
I'm sorry. When's that building going down next to Cumberland Farms?
Well, it's gonna be up to for the town to be able to sell, or whatever we're gonna do with it.
Oh, I thought we were tearing it down first.
No, we have never made that decision. Because we can't yet, because it, you know, it's still under litigation. So, but it's gonna be up, you know, very soon, within probably the next couple weeks. You said, Ernie?
Yeah, it's got the final posting on the building, and they have a 90-day posting on the building, and that's
Okay.
expiring in August.
Yeah.
Oh,
So, and then after that, move forward to do something with it right away.
thank you.
So, yep.
Okay. Take additional 30 seconds of the minute, just to remind the public that the chair had in times past a lovely conversation about that property and the access it represented to parkland up behind, and the incredible need for parking in downtown. What I wanted to speak to is template actions in what I will call a black swan year. With the COVID costs, we need to know what the new default budget number will be as soon as possible. We need to know what the tax cap means with defensible legal opinion, and we need to know how to legally override it. And then, for my money, effective August 1st, the selectmen are taking the following independent action on all department budgets, irrespective of budgets which are not presented. And they will go forward as last year's default budget, except as explained by detailed memos due to the selectmen by August 15th. And those memos will not include 10 reams of copy paper versus 12 reams of copy paper as a defensible expense. Lastly, the culture of the community, the tax culture, will not change from March. There's little personal pain if the town roads rot. You saw that in the 250,000 we lost, and I expect the cheapest budget to win. Crank that into your plan.
Appreciate it. All right. Any other comments? Any? No? Okay. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Or that is my motion.
Motion, I second.
All right. Roll call.
Madam Morrow, aye.
Andy Ross and I.
Claudine Burnham, aye.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Now, where is Suzanne's? Thank you.